Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. It's Super Bowl Sunday, but there certainly was some cracking Call of Duty action going on today. We are going to dive into Los Angeles Guerrillas were involved. That means SlasheR was involved, but he had a few words to say a few days ago on not just the aim assist abuse that's going on right now, but certainly something rather more serious. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. And let's just dive straight on into things. This is awesome Scump. There's Halo going on. There's Valorant going on. There's Super Bowls here, but also there's some cracking Call of Duty. We're going to dive into these games, as Gur says, just to jinx the entire thing. In fairness, I said earlier today, London, I thought they were going to come out and handle business. Didn't happen, of course. In fairness, everyone else predicted London on the Breaker Point prediction, so don't feel too bad about it. But yeah, Gus put this tweet out. As soon as I saw this, I knew it was chalked for the boys. But anyway, here we go. Firstly, before things even kicked off, Chrome pointed out that Huke was stepping in today for the Ultra. Very interesting. I mean, it's clearly Cammy tested positive. He does a tweet right here. Been struggling the past couple of days. Tested positive this morning. Should be good for next week. And of course, Huke is going to step into the team. Of course, we'll talk about his series in a few minutes time here, but just impressive that Ultra seem to have the cohesion, just bring a guy like this into the team. Cammy widely considered their best player. A lot of people might say CleanX, but certainly Cammy's right up there, right? Of course, it's difficult for them to make this substitute, but well, we'll see, I guess. Well, we've seen two roster changes now, I suppose. Of course, this one wasn't meant to be made, right? But it turns out, unfortunate circumstances for Cammy. Hope he feels better relatively soon. We'll dive into that series in a few minutes time, but first we've got to talk about Ravens. Thought this is kind of funny, really throwing some shots the way of the Toronto Ultra guys, because of course the sensitivity training that Cammy had to go through last year. Since then, in fairness, since Cammy went through that sensitivity training, he became an absolute monster. So maybe it's something Ravens might want to consider. But yeah, Gizmo in those interviews. But of course today, he didn't get to do another one because they didn't win the series. Game 1 was completely absurd. Honestly, both these first two maps really felt so winnable for the Ravens. And it kind of reminded me a little bit maybe of kind of the OpTic series, where of course they completed the reverse sweep. But game 1, like early on, it was Guerrillas with a slight advantage. Then London made some cracking plays to get a significant advantage actually in this game, up maybe 30 or 40 points or so, and then Zero made a crazy play to get spawns, and then SlasheR goes completely rogue. This is probably the first time I've seen in this entire game, and at least for the first time in many months really, where SlasheR has really taken over a game. Like, he goes on a 5-3 right here, like makes a ridiculous play honestly towards that kind of ring hard point, gets 5 kills with all the guns. He has the auto, pulls out the pistol, gets 1, then gets a couple of kills with the MP40. Was really huge to hold on to that time, and then he even helped them with the rotation to win this game over at the boat hard point. So really great stuff from SlasheR. The guys understandably very hyped. Asim also was a monster this series as well, and yeah, the London guys didn't really get going. There were some good moments from Zero and the guys individually, but yeah, certainly weren't playing their best Call of Duty today. But Guerrillas, it kind of felt like they played a similar series to how they did up against Ultra a few days ago, where they of course got 3-0'd, but it was really, really close. And we saw that in the game 2 as well. Goes down to around 11, but Gunless kind of clutches up, and turns out they win that one 6-5. Ravens almost brought it back on that Berlin, but then we go into a control here on Gather 2, and I mean, honestly, Ravens' first offensive was so impressive. They won it with, I think, 15 lives to spare on an offense. Very rarely that is done, and all they really had to do after that was hold on to the defenses, and well, they end up winning the map. So pretty well done for the Ravens guys. Defense generally favored, but still, they did crazy well on their first offense. They put themselves in their series to do another reverse sweep as they did against OpTic, but it doesn't work out for them. I was actually kind of surprised how good Guerrillas looked here on Berlin, because this has been a map where London has been very good so far, and Asim was just absolutely frying, right? This guy in the comms was, I'm sure, having a great time, right? Just slaying down all things left, right, and center. Like, yeah, it seems like when this guy needs to turn up, because of course this is a really big series for the Guerrillas, kind of backs against the wall. They needed to win this one to give themselves a good chance of making it all the way into the winners bracket for the major. And yeah, Asim comes up massive, makes some great plays. Impressive stuff from LAG. Certainly not London's greatest Call of Duty they played in this series, but still, they're 3-1 at the start of the season. Guerrillas now still give themselves a chance, but yeah, it's Asim and SlasheR combining a 1.32 for Asim, 1.16 for SlasheR. Very well done. And yeah, Nasty and Gizmo especially, right? He's been enjoying 1.3 so far. Didn't really happen in this series, and then falling to the Los Angeles Guerrillas. This also from Gunless, certainly worthy of mention. Needed to reset my game before that series. I was losing auto-aim. GG's land a big win for us. Not really seen that before, but apparently there's some sort of auto-aim issue that can sometimes come through, where, I mean, yeah, it just loses auto-aim. I don't really know what's going on there. I guess it was okay for the series. Had a great series, all things considered. But well, I wanted to talk about this, because a few days ago, people talked about Cellium, and understandably so. Other guys have been using it as well. You can see Temp tries to use it right here. Through walls, effectively, you can get some aim assist. There's been lots to talk about this. Should it be allowed? I don't mean, well, it shouldn't be allowed really, but what can we actually do about it? Is it possible to GA? Like, can players hide they're doing this? Of course, like, this is very obvious. The Cellium stuff also seems to be very obvious as well. So yeah, lots of talk about what could potentially be done about this. But well, in the midst of all of that, really, I noticed this from SlasheR a few days ago, when this was being discussed, initially brought up by Clayster right at the start of the league. And well, as SlasheR says, both are equally pathetic, with kind of reference to the one-way smoke situation, but again, it's expected from COD players, whatever whatever it takes, he said. So kind of saying, look, a lot of these COD guys, even nowadays, will basically do whatever it takes to win. And of course, that may include something rather more serious. This is what SlasheR says on the same data tweet. I didn't mention it at the time, thought it was the perfect time really to discuss it today. Yeah, you won't catch me cheating or taking drugs to compete. I said this years ago. You must be new, right? This is the thing. SlasheR for years now has kind of been one of the biggest advocates against, well, the players' abuse of Adderall. We know this is kind of a thing in esports for years, not just Call of Duty esports, going back before that as well. There was, of course, the massive revelation that came up from Huke last year, that when they won the World Championship back in 2020 on Dallas Empire, he said he was on Adderall, and he recognized it was having significant health consequences for him outside of the game, and therefore he got off it, and actually reckon he played better since. But it's kind of been a culture really among these pros that, yeah, Addy, you know, you get on the Addy for the game, this is the type of stuff, increases your concentration, and while outside of Huke, no one's come out and actually said, yeah, okay, I was on it, or whatever the case might be, or I was supplying it, or all this type of stuff. Like, it's kind of a hidden secret really within the scene. This has been going on for years. SlasheR's been one of the key guys saying, no, I've been super against it, and I kind of wondered after the Huke situation last year whether drug testing might come into effect, and I believe it actually may have done, at least for LAN events this season, they may be doing drug testing, but of course for these online games, like, who's going to stop them, right? There's nowhere there's a referee taking samples or whatever at the facilities of all these guys, especially for some of the teams that are across the country. It's just not feasible. So it's not implausible, and the way SlasheR says this, right, like, you won't catch me taking drugs, and also he says, like, whatever it takes right here in February, makes it seem like he's not convinced that these players who were doing this have, well, put it away, right, and put it in the bin, because I doubt they would do, right? If they've been doing this for years, you'd imagine they might well continue it, even, well, especially on this online environment where it's certainly possible to do that from the comfort of your own home. So very much intrigued to your perspective on this. I haven't heard anything from the CDL about actually doing drug testing, but when we get back to the majors, it would be good for them to come out and say, yeah, okay, we're doing testing at these times, or at least the players could talk about it to a degree, because definitely been a real hidden problem. And of course, well, the abuse of this stuff definitely has long-term detrimental health consequences that is obviously not good for the long-term health of these players, right? So something that needs addressing. SlasheR knows it. A lot of the players in the league, I imagine, know it, but don't talk about it. And well, hopefully the CDL knows it as well. Let's dive into this final series then, because wow, what an incredible series this was, given the fact that Ultra had a substitute coming into play. This game one was absurd, probably the craziest package I've seen. Look, we've seen a lot of crazy packages so far in Vanguards, but this game one probably takes the cake. I mean, Mutineers were behind a large part of the game. They brought themselves back into contention. Dave Paddy had like crazy stats the entire game when he finishes 34 and 24. And look at this from Hixie, man. This guy subs in for Cammy this game, comes through, and yes, statistically, he wasn't like drawing 1.5s or anything, but in terms of impact, this guy was right up there. Like, I mean, once again, like, he just completely spins on Dave Paddy. This kill was actually so important as well. If they don't get this one, I mean, look at the game clock. It's just ridiculous. Like, there's barely any time on the game clock. They managed to level the score 220-220. I mean, here it is, 218-218. Ultra get like a couple of seconds, and this makes he just spins on Dave Paddy, gets like 2 more kills as well. So critical, because right here they're down 220. I might actually bring it up on the big screen for you guys, I suppose. Like, they're down 220 to 218. There's like 2 seconds on the game clock right now. 3 dead on the hill, but you guys know how Vanguard works. They're gonna spawn right on it. There's 1 man still top of the hard point. Hixie managed to slide in and take him down. Now it's 219, 220. Gets back into the hard point, gets 1 more second on the board, 2 more seconds on the board, because his teammate comes through. Awakening gets this kill, and because there's 0.6 of a second, it's really unfortunate for the Florida guys. They have to kill Bance, but at the same time, they can't afford to contest before they kill him. Like, realistically, what they should have done here, not like it might have mattered, but in reality, they probably should have not contested the hard point before they went for the chow, right? They should have just chowed him from outside. I don't know. It's tough to say what to do in this type of moment. But anyway, they get the kill, but still, Bance stays alive just long enough to contest long enough. The game clock dwindles down, and it's 221, 220. Like, the craziest game could have been a tie. If it was a tie, they'd have had to do it all over again. And I mean, that would have been quite something to behold. But anyway, Toronto win game one. Hixie went massive towards the ends. Then it was, I mean, as aBeZy says and points out very well, very importantly, you still can't be outslaying that hard and lose. That's the thing. Like, I mean, yeah, they got trick-shotted first of all. I think even TJ said, like, well, Dave Paddy just got 360 trick-shotted for the loss. That was a tough one. And look at these stats game one. Like, Sky's 39 and 30, outslayed by a total of 16 kills and still win the game. Not something that can happen if you're a mutineer, especially because they're the substitute, right? Like, they're not expected to win this series, really. They're bringing a sub last minute, and they come out here, go up 1-0, and well, it got a lot better than that for the Ultra guys. Now, in fairness to the mutineers, the next 2 games were incredibly close. Search and Destroy went to round 11. Toronto clutched up, made a nice play. Bance honestly got a massive 2-piece. Not really sure, to be honest, what Florida were playing out there, but it's just classic Florida, really. They look good, they're competitive, and then they just fall flat on their face when it comes to the critical moments, really. And same kind of thing in control. Honestly, the control was pretty incredible. Toronto had offense in the final round. They get the 3 dead. They stack the points fantastically, and honestly, I think it must have been like half a second, probably less than that, before one of the Florida guys got in the hill to contest. But Toronto get the job done. They lose the series, or well, Florida lose the series, and a 3-0 for Toronto Toronto with a substitute. That is impressive. They 3-0'd Mutineers despite being outslayed. I mean, look at this. On the course of the series, they get outslayed pretty significantly. Dave Penny and Sky is positive, but still get 3-0'd. Pretty incredible that can even happen. Just goes to show really the fact that this series was so close despite the 3-0 scoreline. But, impressive debut really, I thought, from Hixie here. Had some really impactful moments, like, not getting outslayed dramatically or anything like that. Like, I think it was really important to their victory this series. Impressive stuff from Ultra, no doubt. And these are the final seconds here from the Ultra versus Mutineers, control game that just came onto my timeline. But very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit in a like button. Tell us YouTube gods, this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well. And upgrade the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.
They want this map win. Bance again, just slowing down time. They're having to play this one by one. They have to. They know they have to get through. Bance has just punched through, though. He's opened the door for Ultra, and they're walking through it.
On the flank. The last player's on the flank. They know exactly where he is. They're just going to stack the point. Look how quickly that capture zone is going up. Ultra might have just stolen it. Oh, my goodness me. Ultra, out of absolutely nothing, get the game done.